Welcome back to the Money Hungry Mama podcast. I am so excited because I have Jordan today. Jordan, take it away.
I am Jordan Schram, and I am a brand and marketing strategist with Purple Sky Strategy. So I help small businesses make marketing a little bit lighter and make it feel more.
Awesome. So now tell us, how did Purple Sky Strategy start?
Yeah. So the name, I started my career in the ad agency world, and I was working on Sears of all accounts. It was almost dying, but we still had a little bit of life to it. And we had a brief from our creative team where no rules. It was think beyond blue sky, think purple sky. So purple sky is my idea of what would happen if the rules did not exist. And so that's what I try to bring to my business owners as well, help them realize their potential and find their purple sky.
My gosh, I love that. So,
Thank
okay,
you.
so it's like this theory. I mean, everybody, you think of sunsets and stuff. Wow, that is really cute. I like that. Okay. So many of my listeners are balancing business with parenting. What does work life integration look like for you? And how do you design a strategy that doesn't steal your life?
Yeah. So I worked in corporate America for my whole career. So I was at Walmart. I was at the biggest corporation that you could be. And so when everyone went back to the office, I decided no more that that's not how I wanted to spend my time anymore. So
Mhm.
balancing work life has to be super intentional. And for me, my daughter gets off the bus at 2:45 and meetings are done. And that's kind of my MO. And it's so easy to let time creep or jump back on the computer, but I think it's really about you'll work as much as time as you have, right? If you have 30 hours, you will fill those 30 hours. If you have 50 hours, you will fill those 50 hours. So I feel like as hard as it is as moms knowing that things are coming up, it's about having a priority list of knowing what actually moves the needle in your business and what is going to make a difference in terms of sales and where you're just kind of, putzing around and maybe creating more busy work for yourself than is really going to be fruitful and going to bring in sales.
No, I love that you said that because I was just having a conversation with somebody on my team today, and we were talking about, how everybody wants to be everywhere. Everybody wants to do everything. Like you're posting on LinkedIn, you're posting on Instagram, you're posting on Facebook. Like, some people take the approach of just like throw things at the wall till spaghetti and make it stick, right? But there's also a burnout that comes with that. And, this podcast is 6 months in and I'm feeling it. And I'm like, okay, I'm everywhere. Like, where are my people? And like kind of zoning in. So I love that you said it's really intentional to kind of sit down and look at your time and be like, where am I wasting hours? Like, where am I
Yes.
wasting certain situations? Now, is there a spot that you see most businesses like wasting their time and they don't even realize it?
I mean, to your point, yes, doing all the things, doing all the channels, right? It's like the feeling that you feel like you need to be in every channel and doing everything. And I will tell you, I never sit down with a client for the first time and tell them that they need to do more. Like that's never the problem, right? Like they're
Yeah.
always doing way too much and trying to be everywhere and be everything. And when you do that, you dilute yourself, right? So I really try to focus on one channel, do it really well, find your customers and where they are and focus and go hard there. And then once you build that muscle and it feels like routine, like move on to another one. But I think it's when business owners and even like the ecom teams that I work with, if they're on Etsy and on Shopify and on Amazon, right? It's like there's so much
Mhm.
just go to a one channel, ecom channel and nail that and then move on. So yeah, I think as moms and as entrepreneurs, like the multitasking, it just is part of the nature and like shiny object syndrome, especially with social channels is very easy. So focus
It's
on what you are good at. And
Yeah, it's so true. Like I love how you just said that. Like it's the shiny object syndrome, but honestly, it's the watching people go viral symptoms. Like it's like, oh my gosh, well they're doing an amazing job on TikTok. Let me go jump on TikTok. And then,
yes.
I don't know about you. I've tried TikTok. I'm on it and I posted and I've had some really like great success with posts on there, but I don't think it's my people. I don't know. I think like you really do need to figure out the different platforms and if your people are on there. I don't know. I
Yes.
don't know if you feel the same way. I just feel like TikTok lately has been not the most positive space, and it kinda scares me a little bit. Not like anybody's doing anything negative to me, but, like, when I'm scrolling, I'm like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh." Like, this is a
Yo,
lot.
no, I love TikTok for ideas because
Mhm.
that's like a lot of where ideas are or trends are generated
Yes.
there. And then if you find the ideas on TikTok and translate them to Instagram, usually you're ahead of the curve. So it's a little bit of a hack of
Yeah.
trying to get ahead of what that curve looks like from a trend cycle. So yeah, I watch TikToks. I don't necessarily participate. I've tried, but yeah,
Yeah.
not my people.
Yeah, and it's so hard to keep up with. Like, that is the platform that you literally need to be posting constantly every single day in order to make
Ab-
it, and God bless the moms that could do it because I could tell you right now, I don't know how any of them record without their kid right next to them. Like, that is mind blowing to me. I'm like, why are they not
Where are the
bothering you?
children?
Yeah, like I would try, I always pull up my camera and they're right there. And I'm like,
Yes.
you were gone all the time. And now you're right here when I pull out the camera. So I think it's hysterical. I'm like, how did they just leave you alone? That's great. Tell me because I can't get mine to leave me alone for 2 seconds. Okay. So
Exactly.
jumping back into this now, was there a moment that you kind of went in your business that you have well, when did you start? Let's start with that. When did you start?
Yeah, I started, a year and a half ago, so last
Okay.
summer,
Okay.
and I had this I call it my trifecta of events that kind of led me to this path. So, my daughter was starting kindergarten, and even though she had been in daycare since since she was whatever, 3 months old or whatever, I couldn't fathom the idea of her getting off the school bus
Yeah.
and me not being there. And then corporate called us back all day, every day into the office, and I just couldn't do that. And
Mhm.
then my mom got diagnosed with terminal cancer and really flipped my whole mindset of what we're doing here, right? Like, and so I had this gut reaction that she worked her entire life for this one day retirement and in an instant that was taken away. And so now I'm like, I don't want to be spending my whole life working, sitting at a desk, and then maybe get to enjoy retirement. Maybe, like, who knows, right? Because you never
Yeah.
know what
You
life is
don't.
going to bring you. So I kind of flipped my mindset, and no one had ever asked me like what I wanted to do on a random Tuesday. So that's kind of my question is how do you want to spend a random Tuesday, right? I think so many people defer doing fun things for the weekends or for vacation or for retirement, but that's not how you spend the majority of your life. So my big question that I ask, how do you want to spend Tuesday? And design your life around a random Tuesday, not aspiring to travel to Bali or whatever, but your life is built in the weekdays. So it really flipped my world upside down and flipped
Yeah.
how I wanted to spend my time on earth.
Yeah, no. Oh my gosh, I is how is your mom now?
She passed in March. So
So sorry.
she fought pancreatic cancer for 2 years, which was really good because her initial diagnosis was 1 year, which, that flips you upside down too. So
Yeah.
I've just had a lot happening in the last 2 years of just like, when you get a terminal diagnosis, there's pre-grief, right? So like I was basically grieving for 2 years before she passed. And then
Yeah.
just this last year is very much like, okay, that chapter's over. How do we move forward and how do we build a life that you want to enjoy, right? So that's my big MO now is I say live life now. Say yes to the things that you would normally say no to as a mom, right? Like you want popsicles before dinner, like not every day, but like
Yeah.
there are things that we say no to just I think as a knee-jerk reaction. And so I think
Absolutely.
rethinking that and like how can you just bring little joy to the everyday?
Oh my gosh, I have complete chills. Like I hate that that's the way that, you had to learn this lesson, but I'm so grateful that you're sharing it here with us today because, you're sharing your wisdom of like a real life experience with all of us sitting here listening on pins and needles. Like, okay, like can we make these businesses grow? How can we decide what to randomly do on a Tuesday? Like, I think I'm going to just start asking people, like, what would your dream Tuesday look like? I think that's a beautiful sentiment to just be like, "Hey,
Right?
like, how do you wanna spend your time here?" Well, we are so thankful to hear from you, Jay. This is beautiful. So, okay, now you have this business. It's
Mhm.
been a year and a half. They always say in the first 3 years are, like, the hardest years. How is it going for you?
Yeah, it's been, a huge journey.
Yeah,
Just with everything going on, like, personally, but
for
also to
sure.
go from corporate and have, like, teams that do everything to, like, now I'm all the hats, right? And
Mhm.
so me and ChatGPT can figure out tech together, like, I can YouTube most things and piece it together, but it was interesting my reaction when I told people I was leaving corporate and doing things on my own, like, everyone was like, "I'm so excited for you. I'm so proud of you." And I
Oh,
think that has been really heartwarming, and then I work with majority female business owners,
mhm.
um, that didn't get into business to do the businessy things, right? And so
Yeah,
I think giving them and helping them create strategies that, aren't in their wheelhouse has been so rewarding for me. And I think that is the biggest thing that I've taken away is like I'm not just helping a corporation, I'm helping an individual make their life easier and their families, right? And I think that's
yeah.
the bigger thing is we're building strategies so that you can spend more time with your family.
No,
Than
100%. And I think
yeah.
it's so funny that you said, like, that they didn't know to build all the businessy things, and I don't think anybody, a business background, really understands all of the
Yeah,
strategies and the things that come with it. It is like talk about a learning curve. Like, it's like, where
absolutely.
were all these things? Like, I feel like there should just be like a and maybe there is now, like, a course in college that you can graduate with, like, entrepreneurship, and it's just like,
Exactly.
teach
Yes.
us
Yeah.
everything. No, oh my
Right?
gosh. It's so true, it's so true. So, okay, let's talk about what as a strategist, right? If you were gonna sit here and give advice to the moms who are listening, what is the first thing you would tell them to do?
Yeah. So my thing is there's so many business owners that skip over the foundational pieces of their brand because they're
Mhm.
trying to get sales, right? And so a lot of business owners like you talk about the foundations of your brand, you think that's the beginning. But there's very much like a point where you realize like you've got to figure out who you are and what you're building. And I always point people back to the foundation. So what is your customer's problem? What are you solving? How can you do it like anyone else or like no one else?
Mhm.
And like what is that positioning that you are so good at that you can nail every single time? But yeah, going back to the foundations is always my and I do it to myself, right? I'm like, okay, like even thinking about like a social post, like why am I doing this? What is my why? How can I bring value unlike anyone else, right? It's going back to how you can serve your people.
Yeah. And I think like something that I've been really learning a lot recently is how truly important it is to also bring you into your business. Like, I
Yes.
think gone are the days of like Canva, Reels, and stuff. Talking to somebody that if you went to my Instagram today on December 15th, that's a lot of what you see because as you know, you're a mom, right? Like, it's just
Hmm.
how am I sitting in front of poor Jordan, I told her today, I'm like, "You know what? I really am not feeling well, but, like, we're doing this today, and I look like a schlep if you're watching us on YouTube." Like, it's just I
Yeah.
can't always be in front of the camera ready, and I think it is so important for us to have to do that, though.
Yes, yeah. I mean, I think authenticity, as much as that word is overused, that I
Yeah.
think that is the MO for 2026 is like showing up, not just like who you are authentically, but like bringing your whole self, right? Like, what
Yeah.
is it that you care about? Like, why did you start this business beyond like trying
Mhm.
to make a paycheck? Like, why are you here? Why are you sharing this with people? I think that is so important. And there's so many brands now that are just like, well, faceless, but like
Yeah.
there's no soul behind them, right?
Mhm.
And so standing for something is what people are craving. Like there's so much distrust in the marketplace. So
So much.
feeling like you can connect with someone like you're having a bad day, but you're here, right? Like,
Yeah.
and I think people feel that and like relate to that because no one's perfect 24/7.
No, they're not. And I think, I think social media has come in such crazy waves, right? Like I feel like when Instagram, when it first started, everybody had to get it perfect.
All
Those
the
pictures
filters.
had to be perfect. Like,
Yeah.
the way you like turned your food and everything. And I was not somebody on there that was doing it good back
Yeah.
then, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just would scroll and be like, wow, these pictures are beautiful. And then as like social media grew, you saw these reels of these quote perfect moms and it's like wow how can they keep it together and I can't even shower today like how
Yeah. Yeah.
what is the difference and I feel like there was a time where that was taking a mental hit on a lot of people and it was like comparing themselves to these real not real Instagrams, and then all of a sudden, there is that one girl, and the Keeping Up with the Jenkins or something like that. Do you remember her?
Yes,
She
yes,
came
yes.
on in a bun, like, no makeup, and I was, like, sold. I'm
What
like,
are you
"Okay."
doing?
Like, I was like, she started the way for me to see other moms show up as their authentic and I never laughed at anybody like I laughed at her. I never felt so seen about her talking about the stories, and I think that's what we're getting back to in 2026. I think
Mhm.
2025, we had a lot of AI help and, like,
For sure.
create AI perfect pictures and create AI videos, but now it's like, nobody can tell what's real and fake, and that's
Mhm.
scary to me.
Yes, yes. My kids were explaining I've got a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old, and the 7-year-old was explaining to my son, "Oh, that's not real, that's AI, like, that
Yeah,
doesn't actually exist," and so it's so bizarre.
it's
You're so right.
crazy. No, yeah, and I think that's why it's so important to be, like, authentically you and show
Mhm.
up on the days where you don't feel good with no makeup and just be you. I don't think anybody expects anybody to be perfect anymore. I think they expect them to show the truth, and,
Yes.
like, that's gonna be what gets people in your ecosystem and trusting you.
Right, and have personality, right? Because
Yeah,
I think that's also what AI has done is it's stripped out all the personality, right? Like,
for sure.
AI can't create your stories and story tell all the little nitty
Yeah,
stories that you have picked up around life. So it's having the personality, having like some shtick or some angle, right?
yeah,
That's gonna differentiate you.
for sure, like, bring it back to Bravo.
Yes.
Bring it back to Bravo. I wanna see you guys, like, just, like, walking around in your house, like, dishes in the sink if you have them, and just be like, "Just tell me what I need to hear." I think that is, like, it just creates such a trust in a world where everything looks perfect again, and I think that was getting a little bit scary because, you know, I was debating on doing, like, a YouTube series, and I was so set on some of these perfect YouTubes. I'm like, "No, it has to be perfect. Like, everything has to be perfect, and I can't post this YouTube without it being perfect." And I decided today, "Nah, screw it, I'm not doing that." Like, I can't have perfect. My world doesn't like perfect.
No, and it's so funny that you say that because that was what I grew up to. Like, I
Mhm.
created this life that I thought I was supposed to. Like, I live in Pleasantville. Like, we live
Yeah.
in these little, like, candy colored houses. I live on a cul-de-sac. I have a girl, a boy, and a golden retriever. Like, I literally created the Pleasantville starter pack, and then I looked around and I was like, "What is this? This is it. This is what I was waiting for." And there is some, like, mom guilt and feeling like you want more, right? Because you're told
Yeah.
to be grateful for what you have, but, like, sorry, I have ambitions, right? Like,
Yeah.
I wanna do something else.
100%. 100%. I love that you said that because it's so sinking true. Mom guilt is something that it just, like, weighs like a cloud, and I feel like it just never goes away, like, it's just always that, like, dark cloud like, it doesn't matter what it is, like, it just is always kind of hovering, it's like, "You want more? Like, this isn't enough?" And it's like, "No, no, it is enough, but I want to give them more." Like, it's not like I think it's so great that you said that because I think hearing that we're all thinking the same things and you're not alone is such a huge, like, important piece of the money hungry mama community, like, it's all of us together collectively feeling something. And I think it's just so beautiful that we get to have these conversations and hear from different people because, I could say it till I'm blue in the face, but it's like, oh, Brittany feels that way. No, like
Everyone
everyone
feels that way.
feels this way.
We all
It's
are pressured.
crazy.
Yes.
No, it's
Yeah.
so, so true.
Yeah.
So, what is the most common mistakes you see entrepreneurs making on social media, especially ones that feel busy to actually lead to sales?
Yeah, I think it's doing what they think they're supposed to
Mhm.
versus what feels aligned or aligned for their customer and their business, right? You're trying to keep up with trends or trying to be on all the platforms because you think you're supposed to,
Mhm.
posting as much as you think that like posting 4 days a week because you're supposed to, right? It's following the rules and not creating your own path because it is so easy to hop on your Instagram and like see some new strategy and like start taking off
Yeah.
and just go versus kind of like checking in with yourself and what your business is all about and like should you actually do this? Is this aligned with where you're going and who your customer is? So yeah, I think it's like changing strategies and getting stuck in other people's worlds versus focusing on what works for you. both personally and professionally, right? Like if it doesn't work for
Yeah.
your time, it doesn't work. So
No, it's so I literally just said that about the YouTube. Like, I was so gung ho about how these perfect YouTubes look, and I was like, "You know what? Never mind, it's not for me. I don't need to do everything right now. I just need to do one thing
exactly.
really, really good." So, now this is one of the biggest things that we talk about in this community. Biggest is content burnout. Do you have any advice for that? Because I think a lot of us are struggling when it comes to content burnout.
Yeah, 100%. I think about like documenting versus thinking about trying to create content. And I've got my notes app or whatever tool you use, just writing down all those micro moments of storytelling and how you can turn something into a story that is going to make a difference for your audience. Like I will talk to my clients all the time and they'll be like, "Well, I just really, don't feel like I want to post on social media." And I'm like, that is content. You need to
Yeah.
say, "I don't want to post on social media," right? Like, and so it's like coming up with like everything that comes out of your mouth, everything that you do is storytelling. So I think people put a lot of pressure on themselves to come up with content, but the more that you can just relate and, going back to the authenticity and trust, like what are you doing today that is going to make a difference for your client or your customer? And how can you turn that into content?
Yeah. I think it's so true. I think, like, it goes back to being authentic and genuine, right? Like, "Hey, I really don't wanna post today." Like,
Yeah.
here I am
Yeah.
showing up for the business because you have to show up for the business, right? Like, you have to do the things even if you don't want to.
Yeah. Call out the things that you don't wanna say, right? Like,
Yeah.
say the quiet part out loud.
Okay. So, you also have what's called, like, a 60-minute marketing reset.
Yes.
Can you walk us through what can somebody expect when they book this call?
Yeah. So it's really my first touch point with someone to where I look at their business as a whole. And the way that I approach marketing is much more from a brand perspective. So a lot of marketers will talk about marketing once the offer or the product is already done, right? I work way upstream. I want to make sure that your stuff is aligned to what your customer needs are and is going to follow your customer journey. So the 60-minute reset is really looking at your marketing, but your business holistically and understanding where there are gaps, what's working, what's not, and what like is right under your nose, honestly, because it is so easy for us in our own business to have blinders on and not see the gaps that we're missing. And so, really, it's a reflection of like, here, this is me from a 10,000-foot view looking at your business, and this is where you're leaking. You're spending too much time here, like cut all of this out, like don't do all this work and like
Mhm.
focus. So that's my 60-minute reset. So we go through, all the things that are working well for you aren't. And then I kind of come up with a next steps of what I think are the best next steps for you to take to drive your business forward.
Amazing. And what is like a common gap that you're seeing that we don't realize that we might have in our business?
Yeah, I mean, it's bringing personality. It's overdoing it. I think a lot of people are hustling and trying to do all the things and really just need to take it back to who they are and find out what their perspective is. So, giving your own spin. Like there's probably 100 other people, 1,000 other people that do what you do. So what is your differentiator and what are you bringing that's different to the world? Like, there's 100 white t-shirts you could buy. So why are we buying your white t-shirt, right? Like it's coming up with your spin.
I love that. And you don't even think about that. Like, there's 100 white t-shirts. Why are we
Yeah.
buying your white t-shirt? That
Yeah.
is such a great thought. And it's so funny because I just think I love how serendipitous this podcast is because I was physically everything I said to you before about YouTube and all these things happened because I had a conversation with a business coach today.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is so funny that all of the gaps and everything that we literally figured out about me today are the ones that you're saying are like the most common things, like
Yeah.
going everywhere, not putting your face on enough, not showing people how authentic and real you are, right? Like, I think it is something that is so to my core that you have to do is be on camera because you can be the most genuine, kind-hearted, beautiful soul, but if you're hiding behind the Canva reels and all the other things, nobody's going to understand that you really aren't a smoke and mirrors business with all of the things that are happening now.
Right, right. Well, and I think everyone's kind of been burned in this coaching world where
100%.
you are talking to this face and then you get in and you're like, "Where was that girl?" Right? Like,
Yeah.
so I think, yeah, showing up in like I met someone I met on Instagram in real life today. It was one of those like scary
Gosh.
things where you're like, "Is this a real person?" And then like she walked in and I knew who she was, right? Like, and
Yeah.
so it feels like you're building a real connection, even if you are thousands of miles away.
No, it's so true. It's so true. And I think, some of your best friends are literally sitting here on the internet and maybe you just haven't met them yet.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you don't
Well,
have to be meet in person anymore to really genuinely have a connection and, help each other through something. I think there's so many things through the years that have really brought in people to make connections through the internet. Like, I mean, I'm not talking like dating system. I'm literally talking about like us
community.
connecting. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's
Yes.
like some of the best people I've met have been because of this podcast. I would have never met them if this podcast hadn't started. And I
Mm,
think it's such like a beautiful thing, like hearing all your stories, like hearing your beautiful story today. Like this wouldn't have happened if there wasn't for social media.
yeah, that's so true. And I think we are moving into woo woo age of Aquarius, but
Yeah.
like all the women like coming together and community is better than bro marketing. And
Hmm.
so I feel like, what you're building a community is everyone can rise together. Like there's room at the table for all of us. And I feel like there is such a shift in how women as entrepreneurs want to work, right? Like
Yeah,
we don't have to fight each other. Like we can all help each other win. And I think that is really what I'm looking forward to this year is just feeling like helping others is also helping yourself, right? Like it's building those collaborations and communities, especially as entrepreneurs, especially as moms, that we can figure this out. And it doesn't have to.
100%. 100%. Like there's nothing we all can't do if we're sitting in a room and like helping each other with it. There's literally nothing. You can't
Yeah.
convince me that there is. I
Yeah.
think we could solve anything. Give it
Yeah.
to us. We got it.
Exactly. I got a girl for that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. So, going into 2026, right? Is there anything that we should really be looking out for or starting to implement or getting us prepared for the new year? Because your episodes, this is going to be January, so we're
Yeah.
right at the beginning of it.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, like, go back to your foundations, and as you look at this year, what is your customer up against? Because I mean, economically, everyone's coming out of a really tough 2025. And so, as you are positioning your brand for this year, think about what your customer mindset is and what they're going through. And I feel like, they say we should start shopping in holiday earlier and early. I think this year, like, everyone was just like, let's get this year done, right? Like, let's
Mhm.
just get through it and start the next year. And so, I feel so refreshed. Um, 2025 was like the year of the snake. So it was like shedding and letting go of stuff. 2026 is year of the fire horse and like so it is
Ooh,
energy. And so I'm very excited to, take off and see what this year brings us. But yeah, going back to what your customer are going through and just acknowledging like as moms, as clients, knowing that they've got a lot on their plate, right?
yeah.
And I think everyone's ready for a fresh start.
No, I feel that. I feel that. Like to me, for the first time in forever, it doesn't feel like Christmas. And it's like wild because I don't understand why. I can't wrap my head around the fact of like the decorations are up, the
Yeah.
presents are bought, but like why is this not feeling like Christmas? And there's
Mhm.
even snow on the ground this year. It's wild. So it's so cool to like hear these things because guys, we're really not alone. Like if you're thinking this too, like it is December 15th for everybody listening. So like we're right in the thick of like Christmas coming and I can't doesn't feel like it this year. It's so weird.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
what's the biggest myth about social media marketing you wish more entrepreneurs would drop?
Let me think about this.
Yeah.
I think the biggest myth is that you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Like, if it doesn't feel aligned to you, then figure out what works for you. Because when you show up not yourself and drained and you're like just showing up to check a box, it's burning you out and it's not and people can feel that, right? Like if your energy
Yeah.
wants to be elsewhere, then put yourself elsewhere. Like do networking or whatever other channel like podcasting or you like
Yeah.
find what works for you because if if you're not in it, people know that.
Yeah, it's so true. I feel like, and I get what we were saying before about like storytelling of if you didn't want to do the post today, like talk about it. But like
Yeah.
there was this trend on TikTok for a while was like, I don't really want to post today, so blah blah blah. And that trend ended up getting to me so hard because I was like, that's also not fun for me to watch. Like, if you don't want to do it, just don't do it. Don't
Right.
just
Right.
like show me you brushing your teeth, like, tell me about it or, like, let's have a conversation through this, and I can listen to you tell why you don't wanna talk about it, but, like, that trend really got to me because I was like, "Ooh, that's like you're saying, like, that was like a lazy way to do it that turned people like me
Into a
off." I
trend.
was like, "Oh, no, that's not the same as storytelling it and,
Yes.
like, getting in your feels about it and being like, 'No, like, I'm so tired. I had to do this dance recital last night.'" Like, you know what
Yes.
I mean? It's a difference.
Exactly.
Such a difference.
Forcing yourself on social media is icky, and, like, no one likes that, right? So, like, even if you post like, I've started posting less because I'm just like, I don't feel it in
Yeah.
me right now, and I think giving yourself that grace and not having to say, "I have to post today," is healthy.
Yeah. It honestly is. It honestly is. It is healthy, and, like, don't think you need to do all the things to be successful because, like she said, there's so many other outlets. Go to a vendor event if you're selling something, do online net marketing, do in-person networking, like, there's so many other ways to go about it if social media is not your thing to get your name out there, for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What's next for Purple Sky strategy?
Yeah. So next year, I'm really focusing on how I can help more people. So I'm working on coming up with a more async, like Telegram group, so I can help more people
Cool.
and have a sense of community where we're all kind of like in building the foundations together and working through things. Because I mean, in the communities I've been in, I've gotten, just as much feedback from the people around me and, like, building together, than I have on, like, one-on-one support. So I feel like that is such an opportunity that I
For sure.
can help more people grow.
No, 100%. I love that so much, and, I think it's one of my favorite things is waking up in the morning and, like, checking the Money Hungry Mama Slack, and I'm just like, "This is so fun," because it's a community. Like, it's not just everybody waiting for some one person to answer. It's like, "Oh, like, what do you think about this?" And it's I think you're gonna love it. I think you're gonna love having a space for that because it's really fun.
Yeah. Well, and it feels like once you, like, start building that community, like, their wins are your wins too, right? Because
100%.
you know how much they've been working towards this, and you're like, "Yes, you got it. It's working."
100%. And it's just really cool to be in a space where everyone genuinely cares. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I think it's very hard to find, and when you do find it, like, just hold on for dear life because it's an incredible space to have that genuine care for each other, and I
for
think
sure.
it's gonna be so fun. Yeah, you'll definitely have to keep us updated so we can put it
Yes.
eventually in here too, so everybody can kinda see your new community.
Wonderful. I love it.
Now, Jordan, what does being a money hungry mama mean to you?
Think it means finding your success, right? Like, not feeling guilty for feeling hungry, honey, right? Or money hungry,
Yeah,
because it's okay to want ambitious and it's okay to go after that. Like, you don't have to feel
true.
guilty about wanting success.
Yeah. No, it's so true. I think you said it beautifully. Like, it comes back to that mom guilt and the
Yes.
ambition that's in
Right?
your head.
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, I think there's so many people that are like, well, I grew up in a world that was like either you're a working mom or you're a stay-at-home mom, and I feel like I've just had my eyes wide open to, like, there is an in between, right? There is a gray area, and, like, being able to be present for your kids and be there, especially when they're young, and achieve your dreams, like, and
Yeah.
go after big things. So, I don't think we have to choose. I think we get both.
No, I think we do. And I think, this space and this community is definitely opening eyes to that. I had a really dear friend of mine for forever. She has been a stay at home mom. She is hands down, I think, one of like the best moms there probably is, right? And she literally texted and she was like, I need something for me. I need She's like, "I'm tired of relying my money on a man. Like, I want to do something too." And it's so true. Like, even if it's $20 a day, that's your $20. Go to Target and buy that coffee and just walk around. I think it's such a great space that, we didn't know existed, but all of a sudden, like, I feel like all of us as millennials are like, we're making
Wait a
way, we're
second.
creating this, we could do
Yes.
this. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's really fun. And I'm really
Yeah.
happy that we're all here. It's
I
so
know.
true.
Millennials, we were all sold the dream, and now we're like, we're redefining the dreams.
Yeah, but I also hate your dream and I want to do my own dream. Like, that's weird. Like, why are we and it's so true. It's like you have to work until a certain age and then you get pension and then you get this and it's like,
Right.
but like what if I don't? Like what
Yeah.
if I don't make it to that? Then I'm just doing this forever? Like this is
Yeah.
my life?
This
Or
is
even
it.
worse.
Repeat.
Yeah, like you're working till you're 70 and then it's like you will never be as young as you are right now. Why are we living our life for something where we can are going to have to go to doctors every 2 weeks? Like why am I doing that? Like that
I
doesn't sound
know. Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
crazy. Isn't it funny? Like I think like all of a sudden like we just started waking up and we're like, "Hold up. Like I have to go to work every day now?" Like when
Who
I
made these
can
rules?
yeah, I'm like this isn't working for me. Let's do retirement. And I always like make the joke too like how they have like 55 and olders? Like, we're the new family starter packs, like, where they're cheap to buy in the beginning, and it's like, the families are all together with little kids, and they're in, like, this neighborhood. I just, like, have this dream that someday a builder will be like, "Here's, like, a new family starter pack," and it's like,
Yes.
your house is cheaper, and because why are we paying the same as people that are working, like, for 87 years? I don't understand. It's
Exactly.
crazy. It's crazy. I think it's so funny.
I love it.
It's just something that I've been thinking a lot about, and I'm like, "That is so funny," because it's so true. I think just as millennials, we were just like, "Nah, we're not doing this anymore."
Yeah. No. And I think that's the permission is that we're kind of giving ourselves the
Mhm.
permission to not follow the rules anymore, to redefine what life looks like.
No, for sure. When you started your business, I just wanna
Yeah.
ask this question because I've actually never asked this question now that we've been talking about, like, paving the way. Were you scared to tell your parents that you were gonna leave?
I know, right? This is like it's weird because it's something that I've like uncovered recently is like I'm always seeking permission.
Same.
I'm I'm also an only child, so like there's a lot of
Oh.
focus on me. I was scared, but also it was kind of like I'm doing this and it was going to
Yeah,
happen. But my parents were very scared for me because they had like climbed the corporate ladders themselves and they're like, "Well, you can't do this. Like, what do
yeah,
you mean?" But it's really interesting that you say that because I have found just in the last month or so that I'm still seeking permission from coaches, right? Because
yeah.
especially in corporate, like I'm trying to I was raised to get permission from my parents and then I like was trying to get
Mhm.
my bosses to like me and now I've been like trying to get coaches to like me and then it was just this eye-opening experience where I'm like I've got to stop. And it's not
Yeah,
people pleasing. It's like it's the external validation of like
mhm.
someone else okaying my work.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that you say that because I don't know. Were you afraid to tell your parents?
Oh, I was petrified. Like, my dad, like, literally told me what I was gonna do when I was younger. He's like, "You're gonna be a teacher because you'll have summers off, and this is gonna be perfect to you." I was like, "Okay." Like, I never questioned, never once was like, "No, like, I'm not gonna do it." Like, I was a
Yeah,
and I guess it's not people pleasing. It's like what you said, like, I just needed that validation of being like, "Okay, like, I'm doing a good job. Like, this is good.
right,
Okay."
right.
Like, "Okay, like, I'm doing a good job. Okay." So, when I remember I had my 3rd so I was on maternity leave from teaching and I had the books are my thing. So, like, my actual business is books. This podcast came from a book that's being published next year. And I remember looking at him and I was shaking because, and now it was like I left teaching in July. And I was like, okay, listen, if I leave teaching and I was like, and I'm going to go all in on this, like, what do we think? And he was like, I think it's the only way you're going to make money. And I was like, what? And he was
Yeah.
like, "Isn't that
Wait a
crazy?"
second.
Like, his whole mindset had changed, but he's like, I've been watching you for the past, like, 5 years, like, you're going really hard at this, you're doing all these events." He's like, "I think if you go back to teaching, like, you're not gonna be able to do all this stuff." And here I was petrified, like practicing with my husband what I was gonna say. And he has been watching all the things that I've been doing, all this stuff, and he was like, This is the only way that you're gonna make it in this world is if you do it yourself." And I was like, from like a guy who constantly like climbed
Right.
ladders.
Right.
I was like, I did not expect that. And I just like started crying and I was like, okay, like this is great. But
I love that.
I think if I didn't prove myself for the first like couple years to show how hard I was doing it,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if it would have been the same conversation, but I had
Exactly.
not been in teaching for so many years already on maternity leave and money was still coming in. So I think that's where he was like, "No, like what are you talking about? Why would you go back? Like you're doing great." And I was like, "Okay, thanks for that, dad."
I will say that I have, like, 3 of my cousins that were all millennials and have, like, quit traditional jobs and are all doing this entrepreneurship thing, and no one has told my grandma. Like, that is, like so it's still secret, like, from, that generation. She went through the depression, like, she will lose her mind. So, it's still a secret from grandma, but
Oh my gosh, it's so funny cuz my grandma too, like, she was definitely nervous, and even now she'll bring up some things sometimes about, like, "Oh, but, like, teaching, like, you have a pension." And I'm like, "Yeah, no, I do, but, like, I also don't have a life, so I'm
Right.
gonna keep doing it this way." But then she'll also be the first person to be like, "Did you read my daughter's book?" And I'm like, "Mom, they're, like, 90." She's like, "Yeah, yeah, it's okay. We're gonna give it to their aunt or their, like, cousin." And I'm like, "Okay." But, like, it's so funny because I think as somebody who, like, feels exactly what you're saying, like, even about the coaching situation, I physically hired a coach just for somebody to tell me that what I was doing was okay.
Yeah.
Isn't
Yeah.
that crazy?
Mm,
But I feel like that's why everybody hires coaches. But
true.
in my mind, like, I felt that to my core with what you said because I physically went out of my way to hire somebody to just tell me my exact plan was okay.
Right. Right.
I was like,
Yeah.
"Why am I doing this? Like, why can't I just decide it's okay?" You know,
Right.
it's crazy.
And I felt myself holding back on things because I needed someone to validate it, even though, like, I knew in my mind, like, it aligned with everything, but I needed someone to say yes. And, like,
Yep.
when I realized that I was not doing things because I was waiting for someone else to tell me, and I was like, but this is my business. So,
Mhm.
coaches have, I'm not going to knock everything.
No,
Like,
no, 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 no,
there's,
no.
there's certainly an expertise and whatnot, but there's also a balance of figuring out, like,
No, for sure.
that need for validation.
No, for sure, and this is definitely not a knock because I still found a ton of value in it, but I just think it's hysterical that my thought wasn't like, "They're gonna change my life." It was like, "I just need somebody to tell me that this is a good idea." Like, I just need you to say yes, and I can start. Which is like an internal thing, like, that's a me problem, like, I need to stop and I love that you said it's not people pleasing because I never thought it was people pleasing, I think it is like we grew up being like, "Oh, I got 100, like, good job." Like,
Yes.
it's you want somebody to be like, "Oh, yes, like,
Yes.
do it."
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't understand, like, what is that?
It is very weird.
Now I now I need to find a therapist and be like, "What is this? Let's unpack this."
How do I
Because
move on from this?
yeah, like, what is that? And, like, it's funny because it's not just a you thing, it's not just a me thing, and I'm sure somebody listening is like, "Oh my god, that's my life." So, like, what what was that? And
But
maybe we can collectively talk about it.
maybe that's why this community thing is so good for all of us, is
Yeah.
because you get that external validation without seeking permission, right?
Ooh,
It's seeing each other, like, have these successes and be like, "Yeah, you did that. That was great."
yes. No, it's so true, it's so true. It's like having people in your corner that you don't need to, like that would tell you the truth too. Like, I feel like, the community at the same time would be like, "Do you really like that idea?" And I'm like, "Well, now I don't." Like,
Yeah.
what do you think? What's wrong?
What am I missing?
I think it's so funny, and, like, I just think you're right, like, I think that's why when we find people that are like-minded like us, that are just going against the curve and doing something different, it's like, "Okay, can we talk about it?" Because, like, people sometimes think I'm crazy when I say these things.
Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. And I think, I'm very grateful the people that I found on the internet, because when I look around my little bubble, like, it
Yeah.
is hard to find people that are going against the grain. And so, especially like moms going against the grain, it feels good to find people that are, like,
Yeah.
on the same wavelength as you, and so, yeah.
Yeah, the good side of social media.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Jordan, tell us, how can we support you?
Yeah, so I am on Instagram at Purple Sky Strategy, and we are gonna do a giveaway for one of my 60-minute marketing clarity sessions. So if you want to get some clarity on where your business is and have someone help look at it from that external view, hit me up.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. This is great.